Good morning to everybody. We'll kick in directly, like we do. The whistle has been blown, so we go. How can we guarantee integration and inclusion within our society and sport? How can we make sure that diversity is considered as an opportunity and not a threat? I want to start that no human being is born racist. And I see that this topic about what we talk today is related to the belief that ignorance is at the very start of the problem. Ignorance generates fear, and fear plays a terrible and negative role in the process. A person who doesn't know will live discriminating others, and this mindset will lead to racist behavior. If this process is often repeated, a new racist is born after birth, years after birth. Intervention is needed on all these levels, and we will discuss a little bit about how. Our society should strive for excellence. Excellence is what we need at all levels to be better persons and live better lives, from politics to sports. To achieve this excellence, we need to ensure equal opportunities for all. There's only one race, and we're all part of that same race. All our different backgrounds, cultures, thinking should work together for a common goal. It's up to us to see diversity not as a threat, but as a resource. We should embrace it for our personal growth and improvement of our society. There's no place for labels when you look for excellence. You look for the best and full stop. In the NFL, there's a rule called the Rooney Rule, where the clubs must give the opportunity to people to be interviewed for applicable positions within their sport organization, no matter what their background is. So the positive side of this is that it forces the owners to be confronted with their own misperceptions and prejudice. And they started to looking for the best person for the job, making choices based on who can deliver the best results. And then also inspiring those interested in certain jobs because they have the possibility to be hired, which obviously is a great thing that they're doing right now. Having the opportunity to compete for a job, knowing that the best will be chosen, would be a great achievement. It looks very obvious, but in fact, the exact opposite is still happening in many places. Now let's think a bit about European football, or football in general. But just before we go there, I want to say that when I use the word black, it represents all those who suffer inequality and discrimination. So here we go. We have 2 black coaches in the main 6 European leagues. 0 in Italian, Serie A. 0 in the Premier League. 0 in the Spanish La Liga. 0 in German Bundesliga. 1 in the French League, Viera, in Nice. And 1 in the Dutch Eredivisie, Henk Vrees and Sparta, Rotterdam. These are all the main leagues of the European football. All the black players that delighted football crowds for decades and have their coaching license are not good enough to make it to a bench. Aren't they worth to get the same opportunity? This lack of diversity is evident at all managerial levels as well. If you want things to change, it needs to be a top-down process. It has to be a top-down process. So let me give some examples of my own experience as well. I've started my coaching career in Italy at AC Milan in 2014. Till now, I'm the coach of the Rossoneri that achieved the highest points average in the last 5 years. After I was dismissed from the job, other 5 coaches have followed me, and no one improved my results. We have a few things in common, though. All those have been dismissed after a very short time of working for the club. And all of us have been contributing to Italian football. So these are the very positive things. One thing does stand out, though, is that they're all white men, former players, and got job offers and started working immediately after. What are the criteria then to get a job, I would say? Is it excellence, is it talent, or other factors? And how many job interviews do you think I got after that first job with AC Milan? Only 1 in the whole of Europe. It's not about me, though, and I'm not complaining, believe me. According to research, which I'm just part of these numbers, made by WAVE a few years ago, 95% of all presidents, vice presidents, and executive committee members at all levels, clubs, national leagues, national federations, and UEFA are white men. 87% of all CEOs and heads of unit at elite level clubs, national leagues, national federations, and UEFA are white men. 99% of the senior coaching positions at all men's national first teams and under 21, under 19, under 17 national teams across Europe are white men. These facts are creating great depression and disillusions among those wanting to get these jobs, into these jobs, and at least get an opportunity to show their qualities as well. And in our society, it's exactly the same. For me, sport and football especially just mirrors what society is doing or what is happening in society. And therefore, before eventually we were saying that we definitely can use it as a tool, football and sport as a tool, but definitely is not the main responsible to make things different. We are surrounded by non-inclusive messages continuously, which is part of conscious manipulation. I was walking in London and I entered in a toy store to get a doll for a little girl. The wall was full of dolls, 30 different type of dolls, of models, and all white ones, except one black doll in a wheelchair. Why? When I was a player by public opinion, one of the best of my generation, I was never chosen as the face of any sponsorship campaign for a sport or other brand. Why? And why the most successful player of Dutch history missed out 7 years to play for the national team, being at the peak of his career? We are in need for equal opportunities, instead of systematically blocking the growth and interest of motivated talent. Those are just a few examples of how inclusion and integration are sabotaged at different layers within our society, on and off the football pitch. We need to act. And I'm happy to hear the things that are already happening. Very positive things are happening. And definitely we need to take the best practices, because I was even talking about the fact that the hooligans were banned forever out of the Premier League and the English system, and now is the best place to go and see football today. So if there's a will, we can make things happen. I see lots of initiatives on grassroots level, but to really change things, we have to go top down. First, we need to focus on legislation, and then messages promoting inclusion and equality. Implementing educational programs. More hours of physical education, because that is less and less and less in most of the European countries. We all know, hopefully by now, that it's scientifically proven the importance of physical education for the kids to develop themselves physically and from the cognitive point of view. Then study also the full history, which is a very important thing, of their own countries and that of the world, including all the bad things that have been done in the past. Those in power today should not feel guilty for what happened in the past, but they should feel very responsible to take action now, learning from the past, and doing everything within the capacity to improve the lives for generations to come, creating an inclusive society based on equality. We need to fight ignorance with education and law implementation, using sometimes tough measures, which might feel some moments unpopular at the beginning, but it serves the community on the longer term. That's real leadership. You do what is, needed and what is right. We need to work for a brighter future. We have to take into consideration all the global topics that come with it, like, for instance, the discussion about a healthy planet. Today, we don't respect ourselves enough, and we don't respect others enough. So how do we think to manage to respect the planet? Everybody here in this room, we were all kids, and I think that we all had a dream. It was pure and without interest. And I just want to say that we have to make sure that the next generation cannot just dream, but live their dreams as well. They will be the ones continuing our legacy and the work that we're doing, because we inspired them. I believe in the human being. I was and still am a dreamer. Will not allow society to take that away from me, but even me, sometimes I need help in order to keep my aspirations going. Let's think for a moment about our children and grandchildren, how we want them to be happy in life, because that's the very basis of everything we do, right? Every day we wake up. Happiness for our kids comes with the creation of proper conditions. A society based on equality and inclusiveness would make them very happy, I'm very sure, and would make us very proud, all of us. So thank you very much, and let's do this together. Thank you so much.